Welcome back then folks to the second build on the third day of pack number 4 in the Special Projects series. This time, of course, as you saw from the title and the thumb, it's a replica build of the Evo IV Rally Car. You can find it in, Gran Turismo 6 most recently, games before that as well. For me, I always found it easy to kind of overshadow or overlook this car in favour of newer Evos, but it was a nice change of pace, and it certainly is that here as well. It's quite a simple build to do, also, to be honest, especially in terms of power. As you'll see in a second, I am using the Gran Turismo 6 numbers for this one, which is 289 horses, 1230 kilos, and as you can see, at least with dirt tyres, the point level is not high at all. 532 is pretty reasonable. Now, as far as the parts, you want your stage 1 weight. Of course, it comes with the Comfort Soft tyres anyway, but we won't be needing those. You want your power restrictor, your ballast, and of course your dirt tyres if you do naturally plan on taking it off-road. I do have the fully customised computer purchased. Then, as far as the diff, that is fully customised. The body rigidity I have opted to go for. You don't necessarily have to, but I've opted to. As far as the racing stuff, I have got the anti-lag. Again, that's more of an optional thing. You don't necessarily have to, but it seemed kind of appropriate for a rally car. As far as the brakes, of course, you want your pads and your discs. Like I've said before, it doesn't matter if you go for drilled, slotted, or even the carbon ceramics. Just go with whatever you prefer. The torque vectoring center diff, always useful to have on a rally car. The racing clutch and flywheel, race suspension, race transmission, and then for the extreme section, as I often like to do with my rally cars, I like to fit a couple of the drift parts, the steering angle and the hydraulic handbrake in particular. So then if we jump over to the tuning shop, because of course the visual side is already taken care of, and obviously as always click the link below to add that to your library. As far as the tuning though, for the suspension, first of all, I've got the ride height a little bit higher on the front, although it doesn't really look like that in practice. 155 on the front, 145 on the rear, 4 for anti-roll. Then for the compression on the dampers, we've got 30, 40 on the rebound, 2.45 for the springs, 1.5 degrees of camber on the front, 0.5 on the rear, a little bit of toe on the front, 0.5 in, none on the back, that's to help with the turn in as well. As far as the diff, I've opted for the lowest on the front and the highest on the rear with a 50-50 split. That won't be to everyone's taste, so give it a try. If you don't like it, by all means change it up, but like I've said before, I'd recommend giving it a try, seeing what you think, and change it as needed. As far as the gearbox, I've gone for a pretty simple auto setting of 240 kilometers an hour, because obviously with 289 horses, being a rally car, it's not exactly like you're going to be using top speed that much anyway. As far as the restrictor, that is untouched. The ECU is fitted but not adjusted, so 289 horses, perfect, right on the dot. As far as the ballast, you want to add 15 kilos. I've opted to put that all the way to the back. Doesn't make a huge difference, but there you go. And as far as the downforce, that is untouched because you can't. For the anti-lag, if you do choose to fit it, of course you can have it on off, weak or strong. I'll leave that up to you. I've got it on strong, as you can see. And then as far as all the rest, you can see what I have or haven't fitted. So naturally, now we need to jump out onto a dirt track to show you what this thing can do in practice. At the end of the day, though, it's an Evo rally car, or at least a representation of one. So you pretty much know what you're going to get. I will say, very few of us would probably use a car like this in this actual form, if that makes sense. And this is a point that I've raised before with these builds. Very few of us would buy a rally car in Gran Turismo 6 and then not do anything to it. This is designed to kind of feel like if you did that. Whereas in reality, many of us would have this thing with 500-600 horsepower with a stage 3, stage 4 turbo straight out of the bat and never use it stock. So you do have to bear that in mind when it comes to performance. Don't expect it to be too ballistic. At the same time though, with a relatively reasonable point level, you could potentially use this, probably more so online, but at least in any kind of event that will allow road vehicles to compete, to potentially quite good effect, because being an Evo, even not a full rally car, it kind of still feels like a rally car because the Evo is very much a road-going rally car anyway. So if you do decide to use the build, I hope you have a ton of fun with it. I believe from comments that some of you have done builds of this one before, or similar to it, so it'd be interesting to see how it compares to yours. And in terms of cost, this is one of the quite affordable ones to do. I mean, the power, like I said, is barely changed at all, so you don't really need to fit that many things to it. If you do decide to use it though, like I said, I hope you have a ton of fun. Of course, check out the builds which I've already done this week for the other cars. Be sure to stick around for the rest, of course. And until next time, I'll see you then. But for now, as always, thanks for watching.